Hello guys, I'm Sammy from Acrobat.net, and today we're going to be talking about hacked lobbies or modded lobbies. Now, this is a primary kind of method used in cheating in consoles. However, it is also possible to use in PC games and other kinds of online games. However, due to the fact that cheating in online PC games is a lot easier, the ways you're going to see it is mostly in console games, namely shooters. Now, in order to understand what a hacked lobby is, you need to know about how an online game works. Now, there are two general methods in shooters, for example, to run an online game. The one is that you maybe have heard about is the dedicated server or the server-based online game, which is basically a method in which your device or your console or your computer is connected to a server, a PC provided basically by the developers of the game or supervised by the developers of the game that runs a specific software that is not on your client or on your device that generates the world or the match or, the game in general. Now, another thing that has become very, very popular, mostly because it's simpler and cheaper for developers of the game, is the peer-to-peer matchmaking. And that basically just means it's kind of like a torrent or a other kind of file sharing system. It's just basically that there is no real server. Of course, there is a server that tracks your statistics and your rank and so on to make the whole thing, the whole leveling up experience a little bit more persistent. But the matches themselves, especially in shooters, are simulated or hosted not on a server like this, but rather on one of the devices of the people that is playing the game. So, if you're using your Xbox to play some random shooter, let's call it Call of War, or Call of Blood, or Call of Arms, or whatever, you're basically, one of the random player is used as the host in a peer-to-peer matchmaking system, and the other people are basically playing on their Xbox or on their PlayStation or on their device, which acts as a server to generate the match or the world in which the game is played. Now, this can be exploited. Now, if you happen to be the host or, the server in a peer-to-peer matchmaking game, you basically have power to control all the variables in the game, which is very powerful. That means all the health values, for example, in the game are processed on your device. Isn't that curious? Isn't that nice? All the health values, all the ammo values, all the whatever values, all the positions of players, even whether a player is visible or is invisible, the position and the speed and everything is basically calculated on your device or on your console in this example. Now, this is quite convenient for people that are trying to hack the game, obviously, because if you're hosting the whole thing, you get to change everything. However, there is a small little problem, and that is that, as in PC games, you have basically control over everything because you have a rooted device, which means any program basically has the right to access any other part of the machine, because that's how PCs work. You get to go into any folder, change anything, any program can access anything if you give them permission. However, in a console, that is a little bit different. Now, in a console, you're very restricted by just the nature of what a console is. It's made to be simple and not give you as much customization, which means the device is by default not rooted. You can't just run hacks on a console, such as, for example, an Xbox or a PlayStation. By default, it doesn't work. You need to actually open up your console and, have some physical changes in that console, and you need to install either some different hardware or some different firmware, software. You need to change the operating system, which is not a trivial task at all. In fact, only very few people can actually perform this process, which is why hacked lobbies on consoles are very rare. And they don't even exist for very new consoles. For example, this is 2016, and there are not, as to my knowledge, any broadly spread methods of creating hacked lobbies in PlayStation 4 or Xbox One consoles, simply because the console has not been hacked already, and it takes a lot of expertise, a lot of knowledge, and some certain tools to make this happen. Now, as I've said, once somebody does it, however, and the code to do it is out there somewhere, more people can do it. Not everyone, by any stretch of the imagination. You still need some advanced knowledge about IT to perform these kinds of mods or hacks. And once that has happened and a custom firmware has been installed on the Xbox, you may run custom code, which allows very overpowered things if you are hosting your own lobby, like god modes, like being invisible, like teleporting, like changing your ranks, unlocking everything, using unlimited perks and stuff and things, and getting unlimited points, and a lot more. So basically, once the console has been hacked, nothing is impossible because you are the host, you are the server on which the game is being run, which is one of the very few advantages that consoles have over PC games, as long as peer-to-peer matchmaking is used anyways. Because if you have a dedicated server and you're playing a PC game, a shooter for example, it's impossible to get a god mode. However, on a console, if there's a peer-to-peer matchmaking system and you're the host and you got a hacked console, you can basically enable yourself and anyone in your lobby to have any cheat you can really think of, which is quite nice. However, the downside is, as I've said, people that are able to perform these very complex modifications and hacks and that actually are in possession of the codes required and of the hardware required, these people are very, very rare, and their services are obviously in high demand. So you have to expect to pay to be a part of a hacked lobby. Usually how these services will work is that you will pay the person providing the hacked lobby. They will invite you into the lobby and provide you with whatever you've paid for. Now, getting this kind of service for free is impossible unless you know how to actually cook or hack or mod your own console, which, as I've said, I'm not discouraging anybody from trying to learn this, but you need some serious knowledge and you need access to some serious hardware as well. So it's not something that anybody can just pick up, or anything like just putting a USB stick into your console and it's hacked. And also the potential of damaging your console permanently and making it essentially useless is very high, especially if you have no experience doing this kind of thing. So yeah, that's basically how hacked lobbies work. And just to recap again, this only works for peer-to-peer matchmaking games, which are predominantly shooters at the moment. And it does not work for any kind of online game that uses persistent servers. So it's basically just for match games that use a peer-to-peer matchmaking systems. And even then, these codes usually only exist for the very popular games. And these services will usually not come into being if a game is not popular enough. So, our fictional game Call of War or Call of, Blood will probably not have this. So, thanks to you guys for watching. I hope you've learned something, and I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.